artwork, my writing, where you can see it, some links, and the relevance of art, because one of the things that's really kind of bothered me is the fact that art doesn't seem to be relevant to what people are going through right now, particularly right now with $4 gas and everything else that's going on. So I just want to give you a little tour of what I do, my writing, and introduce myself to you. Thanks. Alternatively Detroit. It's a multimedia creation, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, taken with string, rope, and the idea behind the piece was to create this notion of metal, metallic surfaces, things along those lines, twisted wire, rope. That was the idea behind the piece, and that's what I was trying to go for when I created it. So this gives you kind of an insight into that. If you move over here a little bit, there's a piece in progress. Rope, string, and whatever else that can go into a piece of art. And there's another piece. You can see some of these pieces in action. This one is a brand new title piece. It's relatively new. It's 4 panels made out of wood, and if you walk around it, bear with me here, you can see that it's several panels that come away from the wall. And I thought that was kind of an interesting idea. They were all painted separately and then intertwined with each other. So I'm kind of playing with the idea of what is paint, what is a surface. This piece right here, the 3-dimensional piece, is called Piestewa. It was in honor of Lori Piestewa. And it's a totemic type of piece, freestanding, painting, sculpture, the whole 9 yards. It was a really special piece for me to create. These are 2 new pieces having to deal with the Iraq War. I was very, being from Germany, very influenced by German Expressionism, so that's what I wanted to do with these pieces. So that's the genesis of them. And this is the other piece too, again dealing with the Iraqi War and people coming back from combat. After working abstractly, I really wanted to create something that was a little more representational, figurative, and still very expressionistic. As an artist, one of the things you always try to do is think of ways to make your art, meet other people, make money. That's always the issue. And I had a figure drawing workshop, and from that figure drawing workshop came this painting, my first figurative nude in a long time, and it was really a triumph for me to be able to produce it, and I really was grateful that there were people that were willing to come to the studio and be able to kind of pitch in. Like I say, it's always an issue with art and money. It's always a sad relationship. But somehow the art is created. Now I'm moving real fast here, but this is one that I really, really kind of opened up as far as the brush strokes. It's kind of a flat 2-dimensional piece. So it gives you kind of an indication of where I'm going. Ooh, this one's, there we go, upside down, sideways. It's wood hanging away from the wall with 3 wooden columns coming underneath. It's a little bit of a different piece. It's in my home, so I really, really like it. And here's yet another nude from a model that I had, and it came from a real sketch. So you can see I always like going back and forth. And this little piece over here behind Piestewa was actually featured in a magazine. And here are an assortment of paintings and drawings on the wall. Forgive me for being kind of rushed because I don't want to take up a lot of time because I can go on and on talking about what these paintings mean. But I always wanted to document my space, because this is kind of like the place I work in, the place where the pieces are made. And that to me is always really relevant. So this kind of gives you kind of a little idea of the space I work in. And it's usually a little messier than this. There's usually paint on the table here, palettes, knives. It's pretty chaotic, but right now it's pretty, and you can see where the chaos is. See, it's all neatly put into this really great storage area that has my paints, so I can put them all away, make the room a multi-use area. Again, one of the things I just realized after I came out of the studio was that those were actually more than 4 panels. They were actually more like 6. More like 6. That's one of the things about art. You make it and then you forget about some of the things that went into it. Overlooking the images that make up the work I've done over the last few months, I really feel like there's been a lot of growth and a lot of ideas that weren't there. And that's the nice thing about maturing in art, is that you can grow old somewhat gracefully. And at 45 I've been doing it for a while now, so I think I've managed to achieve a few things here and there as an artist, and overall I'm pretty happy with the work. Really happy with the work, but it's always a struggle making art now because the economy's so bad, the struggles to get the work out there, having people see it. Even though the work I sell is not really expensive, it's been a pretty uphill battle. And with the writing, that's been the same thing too. Although I've had some victories, there have been some really bitter defeats too. having galleries represent you that are really great and then they go under, or working for a magazine that you've devoted yourself to and it goes under, or you're writing for people and you just seem to be like a chalk mark in a rainstorm. You're kind of out there. But, people like myself just kind of persevere living in Bohemia. But what it's done for the work, though, all of these trials and tribulations that we're all going through, has fueled the work. I once said, I've always wanted to live in a time that was very interesting, like maybe after World War I when things were so very interesting. But the flip side of that is life can be very, very difficult living in interesting times. And right now we're living in some very interesting, if not arresting times. And I think for me, the art has to reflect that, or else it's not me and it's not sincere. And one of the things that I've always tried to aim for as an artist is to make the work as honest as possible. Another thing about being a writer I've discovered is that you have a tendency to be very, at least I do, a tendency to be very verbal, always having something to say and always looking for a format in which to say it. So I'm going to conclude this little, or not so little video and add some links to my website and, make a very big plea for support. Unfortunately, I'm job hunting like everybody else, always looking for the next dime and dollar. So, if you like the work and you're interested, hey, make an offer. I try to keep it affordable for the people. It's one of the things I've always tried to do. Anywhere from $25 to $50 to $100. Anything to keep the creativity going. And that's really about it. But if you're a writer and you're looking for a way to express yourself, Blogger is one of the best ones I've seen, and Print and Post is also an excellent one. So I'll include those links and give you some things to look at, But again, thank you for your time. I really appreciate it, and I hope you've enjoyed watching the work as much as I've enjoyed creating it. And this is really a first for me. I've never really documented like this my work, my workspace, the writing, all of it together. And I didn't really talk about the writing, but you can see that on my blogs. But I cover art, political figures, people of interest, celebrities. One of the famous ones that I really enjoyed was Stephen Frears, who's the director of The Queen, the Oscar winner. And that was a real victory for me to be able to talk to someone on that level. So there have been some really great moments. And just in case you want to know, I'm based in Phoenix, Arizona, where it's about 100 and something degrees. And gas right now is almost about $4 a gallon. So that can tell you about the time frame in which this little videotape was made. Have a great day. Thank you. And feel free to contact me. I always appreciate hearing from other people. And thank you for your indulgence in this kind of rough and ready video. Thanks.